Hey everyone, Eric here. In this video, we're diving back into the Marshall style circuit, the Superlead, the 1959, the Plexi, whatever you'd like to call it. We're gonna take a look at what's the difference between the top and bottom inputs, or the high and low inputs, in each channel of this Marshall Plexi replica from Rocket Retro. This is my RR100. Again, I've enlisted the help of my friend Jason over at Fuzzlord Effects, who is an electrical engineer who's built many amps, who builds pedals, who understands all of the electrical components and magic behind these amps. He's going to explain to us what the difference is between the high and low inputs and why they sound different. So let's go head over to the Fuzzlord shop and hear what Jason has to say about the different inputs. Okay, so we're back here with Jason. We're talking about what's the deal with the 4 inputs. Before we went over what channel 1 and channel 2 are. So now I just want to focus on like what's the top input and the bottom input for each channel, because each channel has 2 inputs.
Right. I think some amps call them high and low inputs, right?
Yep.
So on most amps, so this is the 100 watt 1959 Plexi circuit, Marshall Plexi, that's kind of the slang for it. This amp, JTM 45s, some of the orange amps and matte amps too, and I'm trying to think what else, like Model T. A lot of them have the high and the low input, and most people go with the high input because it's like a little louder, more gain. But what the deal is the high and the low input have different impedances, and the low input actually divides your guitar signal in half right off the bat.
Okay.
So we've got the schematic out here. Basically what it is these are like shorting jacks that help keep the amp quiet when our signal's not plugged in. But when we go into our high input, we go through a 68K resistor and then back down through this 68K resistor and then through a 1 meg resistor to ground. So the guitar sees that as we're going through a 68K resistor in series, and then we see a 1 mega ohm resistance to ground. That's a very high impedance. General across the board, most people shoot for a 1 meg input impedance for anything guitar related. So that's like really normal. Let's plug into our low channel now, which on our schematic would be right here. So when we plug into our low input, what happens is we go through a similar 68K resistor in series, and then the other input's grounded, and it's just a 68K resistor basically to ground. So 2 things. When we go through a resistor in series, and then one like to ground like that, basically that picture is a voltage divider. Okay. Right off the bat. 68K, 68K, the math on that comes out to the output signal coming out of that going to the tube is 50%. So right off the bat, it's like turning your guitar halfway down. Okay. I love the low inputs because I like a clean guitar. And sometimes like a humbucker pickup into an amp like this is kind of like always kind of dirty if you play hard. So that's why I use it. The other side effect of that is now our input impedance isn't 1 meg. the input impedance that we're seeing, like the path to ground, is just those two 68K resistors. So we have like, what is that, 136K versus 1 meg. So a lot of people will say that like loads down the guitar pickup a little bit, and that's why they tend to sound a little bit darker on the low channel, as well as being quieter.
So is this similar to like the JCM 800 I have? It's only like, it's a set of a high and low input. It's just one channel, I guess. Is that a similar thing? Do you know?
I would think so, but I'm not totally sure in that schematic.
Okay.
But I know like in the JCM, in the Plexi, the JTM 45, Model T, Fender Bassman, 5E3 Deluxe Fender amp, Orange Aura 120, and the Manamp GT 120.
It's all the same thing.
All the high and low input works in that way.
What about channel jumpering? How can we, usually I plug into this input and that input, or sometimes I'll plug into this input and put a patch cable between these two.
Basically what you're doing when you're jumpering those channels like that is, when we're not jumpering, we have to choose either we're going to use the bright channel or the normal channel, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They're voiced differently. When you jumper them, we're letting our guitar signal actually make it to the two different gain stages that are voiced very differently. And then we can actually use both of our volume controls because they blend back together. So like a lot of times you're actually running your signal into both channels concurrently, so you can turn one knob up to get more bass, one knob up to get the ice pick treble back.
Yeah. So now that you know the difference between the top and bottom inputs on this amp, and you've heard the difference, I'm curious to know which input on this amp would you plug into? Would you plug into just one, or would you bridge them and plug into both channels? Let me know that in the comments below. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, check out all the other gear demos and instructional videos I have here, and if you want to follow me on a daily basis and interact with me a little bit more, you can always head on over to Instagram and follow me at Eric Merrow. Before I get out of here, I want to send a huge thank you to these folks right over here who are my executive producers for my Patreon page. I really appreciate the support so much, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a good one. I hope you stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.